It's hitting Wall Street.
And now, one of the most powerful legal figures in global finance has been forced to step down, not because of new charges, not because of a trial, but because of emails with Jeffrey Epstein, and the cracks are spreading. Intro. The ripple effects from even the partial release of the Epstein files are accelerating. We're now seeing resignations, not just in politics, but inside global finance, elite law firms, and international institutions. And the question is no longer if accountability spreads. The question is, how far up does this go? Because when the general counsel of Goldman Sachs, arguably one of the most powerful banks on earth, steps down over Epstein correspondence, that's not a minor tremor. That's structural damage. Global accountability versus U.S. silence. Congressman Khanna recently pointed out something important. Across the world, people tied to Epstein, even loosely, are facing consequences. In the UK, in Norway, in the Middle East, executives, financiers, even figures connected to royalty are being investigated or pressured to resign. Meanwhile, in the United States, we have billionaires, cabinet members, tech moguls, finance titans, names appearing in the files, and almost no visible outrage from leadership. That contrast is becoming impossible to ignore. Goldman Sachs general counsel forced out. Let's talk about the latest resignation. Katherine Ruemmler, Goldman Sachs' top lawyer, stepped down after scrutiny over her past communications with Jeffrey Epstein. According to the documents, she corresponded with Epstein between 2014 and 2019. At the time, she was in private practice at a major law firm. Later, she became the chief legal officer at Goldman Sachs. Here's what makes this serious. Epstein reportedly sought her advice about how to handle media coverage surrounding his charges. He reached out to her the night of his arrest. And while she says he was never formally her client, that's not the whole ethical picture. Why this matters legally. In the legal profession, an attorney-client relationship doesn't require a signed contract. If a person reasonably believes they are receiving legal advice, that can trigger professional obligations. That includes confidentiality, conflict rules, gift restrictions, ethical compliance. And the gift issue here raises serious red flags. Epstein reportedly gave Ruemmler $10,000 in luxury department store gift cards, a designer handbag worth roughly $10,000, luxury travel benefits and airline points, high-end clothing. In legal ethics, even modest gifts can create conflicts. These were not modest. When large gifts coincide with private advice, it creates the appearance of impropriety at minimum. And perception alone can end careers at that level, which is exactly what happened. Reputational risk at the highest level. Ruemmler wasn't just Goldman's top lawyer. She also sat on its Reputational Risk Committee. When the person overseeing ethical exposure becomes the exposure, there's only one outcome: resignation. This isn't about proving criminal conduct, it's about institutional integrity. And institutions move quickly when reputational damage threatens their stability. Brad Karp and the Paul Weiss connection. But she's not the only one. Brad Karp, former chairman of Paul Weiss, also stepped down amid scrutiny of his past involvement with matters touching Epstein. He reviewed aspects of Epstein's 2008 prosecution agreement. He maintains there was no formal attorney-client relationship, but again, formal paperwork is not the only standard. Perception and professional responsibility matter. And here's where the circle tightens. The Leon Black connection. Karp's firm had connections to Leon Black, the Apollo Management co-founder. Leon Black paid Epstein approximately $160 million for what he described as financial and trust advice. The U.S. Virgin Islands sued him, arguing those payments helped sustain Epstein's criminal enterprise. Black settled. Now, Black's name resurfaces again, including being referenced in filings related to Ghislaine Maxwell. Whether that's strategic or signaling is unclear. But the network of connections is undeniable. Finance, law firms, power brokers, the same names keep orbiting. Why this is bigger than resignations. Here's the larger point. For years, only Epstein and Maxwell were held accountable. But the files show how many people helped maintain the ecosystem around him, not necessarily committing abuse, but protecting him, advising him, normalizing him, rehabilitating him. And when powerful institutions shield powerful people, that's how abuse networks survive. Transparency isn't revenge, it's prevention. The cracking effect. When one high-profile resignation happens, it's easy to dismiss. When two happen, it's notable. When international figures begin facing scrutiny while U.S. elites remain insulated, that's pressure building. History shows that once cracks form at the top, they tend to widen, because reputational contagion spreads fast in elite circles, and no board wants to be next. The real question. This isn't about partisan politics. It's about institutional accountability. If executives abroad are being forced out over far less documented interaction, why is American outrage so muted? Why are tech billionaires, finance moguls, and high-level officials not facing similar scrutiny? Transparency should not stop at redacted PDFs. Closing message. The Epstein files aren't just about past crimes. They're about the network that enabled those crimes. And if accountability is real, it cannot stop at the two people convicted. Because when elites protect elites, the public loses trust in everything. This may be the beginning of broader consequences, or it may stall. But one thing is clear: the silence is getting harder to maintain.